Happy morning. Well, today I really enjoyed doing the process along with you. Normally, when we do the process, I release a lot of energy. There is a need for more energy in the audience. For some of you, have low energy levels. But today, after a long time, I felt a pushback. Almost as if we don't need your energy, we have more than enough for ourselves. So here, take some back. So I'm very, very glad and very, very proud of the group of people that we have today in Life Lessons. So pat yourself on the back and say, good job done. Last few weeks have seen some very unfortunate deaths. And I also heard something very strange last evening. And it so happens that I have been reading a book for the 8th time. And everything seems to just come together. Yesterday was one of those days when I had a kind of a pointless day. And hence I could read in peace and take some notes for all of us. I'll first read that. I'll explain to you why I'm reading it to you. And then we will discuss about emotions. And let's see if today can be the most profound life lessons we ever had. Sunita Joshi passed away a few days ago. I got a message from Pandurang that another very young guy called Shubham committed suicide at 11 p.m. in his home. A few months back in our housing society where we stay, another couple had a young son who committed suicide. And Joe has been asking this question, why would somebody take this kind of a step? What will make someone take such an extreme step? Is it that life is so challenging? Okay, Life Lessons is here, not on the mobile phone, so please. Do you need my phone? Okay. We definitely know that there are millions of people who have greater challenges in their life. Dr. Viktor Frankl speaks about a philosopher called Nietzsche. And Nietzsche in his book writes, I have only one prayer to Lord. I must be worth my sufferings. I had read this quote about 15 years ago, couldn't understand. Why should somebody say I must be worth my sufferings? I can understand when somebody says worth love, worth attention, worth the success. But being a man, Nietzsche is, who has been an extraordinary philosopher, I realized that there must be some meaning. I am not able to see it. Time will make me understand it. Every now and then we go through this kind of an experience in life where you get an insight which doesn't make sense to you. It's not because the insight is not deep, our maturity and our perspectives are still incomplete. I have only one prayer, and that prayer is, I must be worth my sufferings. And yesterday, when I was reading A Man's Search for Meaning, suddenly things seemed to make sense. Viktor Frankl said something brilliant. And I had never thought about it from this perspective. He said, a human being must have 3 loves in his life. Now, when we speak about love, there is one kind of a love that all of us know. He said, first must be love for work. Whatever he is doing, he must be able to love. His maximum life goes in the work that he does. When I don't love my work, my life is very boring. It's very heavy. It's like a punishment. Then he said, you must love people. Now, depending on the kind of person you are, you might want to love one, and you can love everybody. So there is a Jesus Christ who loves everyone. And then there are individuals who have space to love only one. And then he said, you must love your sufferings. And he went on to say, Nietzsche would say another statement, that which does not kill me makes me stronger. If I am going through some trauma, it can be in a relationship, it can be my own mistakes, it can be the loss of something that I valued in my life. If something does not kill me, it makes me stronger. Now, when I have wisdom, I will see my life like that. The biggest of losses didn't kill me, so it has only one purpose, to make me stronger. Biggest of disappointments didn't kill me, it has only one purpose, and that is to make me stronger. And I guess that's what Nietzsche meant when he said, what he said about suffering. And he said, my only prayer is, I must be worth the sufferings. Which meant, if this suffering is being sent in my life by you, there is a meaning and purpose behind this suffering. And the purpose is to make me stronger. I must be worth your suffering means, I must be smart enough, I must be wise enough to see the meaning behind this suffering and to ensure I don't go down, I don't suffer, but I actually become stronger. I don't complain, I don't stop the lessons, but I actually become stronger. So love these 3. Love your work, love people, and love suffering. I imagine what in life will stop you if you can have these 3 loves. It's almost like session number 1 of last year. I'm unbreakable. आनंद हो जाएगा. It will only make me stronger. So as I read Dr. Viktor Frankl, I wrote some notes yesterday. And I'm going to read it out to you. And as I read it, now and then I'll speak about what sense it makes to me. And I'll also ask you, what sense do you see over there? And after this small session, we'll go into discussing about emotions. And I repeat, let's see if we can make this the most profound life lesson ever. How many of you have heard a guy called Joel Barker? He's done Berry, so in Berry he would have heard me speak about Joel Barker. An extraordinary guy who gave to the world the power of vision. How, when you have a vision, you seems to have some strength inside which no knowledge, no money, no resources can ever give to you. Joel Barker keeps on saying, and he's a professor in a college, he keeps on saying, my best students in life were not my smartest students. My best students in life were students who had clarity about what they want to do and who they want to be in the future. He said, humanity has seen the worst of human beings having IQ which is matching the IQ of a genius. 160, 162 means genius. And the worst crimes on this planet have been done by people who have the highest IQs. Says we worship, we give a platform to people who have intelligence. But people who have created the world were not people who were the smartest and the most intelligent. People who created the world were people who had a vision. And he says the dream which is backed by action is what becomes a vision. Everybody has dreams. Not everybody has a vision. So you and me ask yourself, what's your dream? We can talk for the whole day about this is my dream, this is my dream, this is my dream. मेरे को ये चाहिए, ऐसा हो गया तो कितना मजा होगा, काश ये हो जाए. But a vision which has action, or a dream which has an action becomes a vision. So those of you who would love to live your life based on a vision, it will be interesting to do a little research on this brilliant guy called Joel Barker. Joel Barker. Makes a lot of sense. Makes a lot of sense. Now Dr. Viktor Frankl. He says, the only way to tackle a tough time is to believe in a great future. The issue with tough times is belief in a great future. You start thinking that the suffering is permanent. Is in tough times, think of a great future. Now, can you decide on 3 steps that you will take in these tough times in the direction of a great future? Now, many of you might know it, but just to put things in perspective, Dr. Viktor Frankl was a Jew. During World War II, he was captured and he was sent to concentration camps. Now, concentration camps were places where the Germans would herd together people who have been captured during the war, and these captured people would be then killed. About 6 million people were killed by the Germans during World War II, and most of them died in concentration camps. People were subjected to inhuman torture, and many people gave up on their life because of the horrors of the concentration camp. Now, the news about the concentration camps had already spread, and therefore one day when Dr. Viktor Frankl along with 8 of his family members were captured and sent to the concentration camp, each one of them knew that they may not see each other ever again in life. There is a very hard-hitting movie, and in the movie there is a scene where a guy who has lots of degrees, 3 doctorates, approaches a soldier and tells the soldier, "I'm a learned man, I'm a knowledgeable man. You can use me for Germany." And this guy carries his certificates and shows it to that German soldier. And the German soldier looks at this man and says, "You're a doctor?" "Yes, sir." "Is this all you've got? Or you have more?" "This is all I've got." Throws it in a dustbin and says, "Now you have nothing." And it's a chilling scene where a person who has depended and defined his life based on the respect which others give to him suddenly is told the reasons for which you are respected means nothing. So all your education, all your exposure, all your doctorates, now you don't have them, and he just throws them away. Now that is a treatment given to people at the concentration camps. Now I'm going to read to you what Dr. Viktor Frankl writes in this book called A Man's Search for Meaning. He writes, "I reached the concentration camp and I took 3 decisions. Decision number 1, do my best to survive. Which means I'm not going to die, I'm not going to give up. I'm going inside the concentration camp with this decision that I am going to survive. 2, to use my medical expertise to help. So he's a qualified doctor. So it's wherever possible, I'm going to use the expertise I have to help people. And 3rd, which to me was brilliant, to learn something useful, preferably every day." He's going to a concentration camp where 99% people were killed. And only those who could work very hard, physically fit people, only they could survive because the Germans needed bodies to work. And this guy is 50 plus. And he says, my job number 1 is to survive, job number 2 is help, and job number 3 is to learn, preferably every day. Inside the concentration camp, his mind is, I'm going to learn every day. I guess that's what makes him Dr. Viktor Frankl. He writes that most people were killed soon after they reached there because they gave up. Only some survived. He writes, my interest was in those people who have survived. So if you know there are people who have been in the concentration camp for 30 days and are still alive, you would go to them and ask them, how do you think that you're still alive in this situation? And then he writes, all those who made it through had something significant yet to be done in their future. Which means they had a vision, a very strong goal. He gives two examples. Two men were going to commit suicide. Now the rule in the concentration camp is, if you are seen talking with anybody, you are put to death. If somebody is attempting a suicide and if you go to save them, you are put to death. So two people were planning to commit suicide and they were just muttering to themselves, enough is enough, I can't survive. And they have decided to commit suicide. But people spoke to each other, even if it meant some of them will be caught and killed. So he said, many people decided to commit suicide, we could save two of them. One was a scientist who had an incomplete work, a book that he was writing on an invention that he is making. And he was told, so you have already survived for 12 days. It means he wants you to complete your work. And that guy survived the entirety of the concentration camp till the camp was liberated. And the second was a person who had a child who was not in the concentration camp, who could escape to another country. And the vision that they gave to him was, hold on, survive. Because one day you are going to unite with your child. Viktor Frankl said, I was taught by an inmate who was very weak, who had blisters and ulcers in his feet, who actually should have died because he was of no use to the Germans. He couldn't do any work per se, but he has survived for 6 months. And this guy tells Viktor Frankl, if I am going through some suffering, I give my suffering a purpose. And he says, may all the suffering that I am going through help my child. May all the suffering that I am going through help my father. May all the suffering that I am going through help my wife. He almost had the will to say, I am willing to suffer, and I pray to God that my ability to suffer should help my people. You know, imagine a scene where a spy has been captured and he knows the details of where 5 people are hiding. And he is being tortured by the enemy. Now it's a very simple equation. I share the whereabouts of those 5 people and I live. I do not share it. I die, they live. Now as I am being tortured, I give a meaning to my torture. I give a significance and purpose to my horror. मेरे को बहुत तकलीफ हो रही है लेकिन वो 5 जिंदा रहेंगे. Now this is what is called giving your suffering a meaning. मेरे को जो तकलीफ हो रही है होने दो, मेरे बच्चों को यह तकलीफ नहीं होनी चाहिए. मेरे को जो तकलीफ होती होने दो, मेरी बीवी बहुत स्ट्रांग बननी चाहिए. मेरे को जो तकलीफ होती है वो होने दो. And then he said, anybody who gave their suffering a meaning and who created a vision for themselves, more often than not survived. And those who gave in to their suffering, saying, बहुत तकलीफ है, they could not survive. So when I was reading and then I was writing this, it is super interesting to read his thoughts on rising above the suffering of the moment. And I was thinking about TJ in those moments. When he had to run the comrades, when he had to prepare, there would be so many times when the body would say, बस हो गया, छोड़ दे, आज नहीं जॉग करते हैं, आज नहीं करेंगे, क्या फर्क पड़ेगा, बाकी तो दिन किया है ना. अरे I am already on track. In fact, I am ahead of schedule. And the mind would want life to become easier. But when you choose to go through the suffering of the moment, कोई बात नहीं, I'll still push my body today and let me see if I can create a new record today. शरीर ही तो है, थोड़ा शोर हो जाएगा, थोड़ा दुखेगा, but the end result is, if it doesn't kill me, it will make me stronger. Did you have moments like this? And you push your body and you say, my body is my slave, it better do what I want it to do. How glorious and beautiful it can be. I went through an experience in the morning. Betu day before sent me some screenshots of only one group where for some reason she's not added me. And that is the KMM Bangalore group. She's added me in all other groups, KMM Bangalore group, she's not added me. One of those days I asked her, Betu, kyun? And she sent me some screenshots. And in the screenshot, the first picture is of a lady who's about 55, 60 years old, wearing fantastic gym clothes, in the gym, doing deadlifts, and she's having repetitions of 45, 20 kgs each side. And there is this picture of her doing those deadlifts. She inspired people. In turn, some people did some crazy stuff. Yes. All of you would have heard about Nimisha. Namisha says, okay, that day I realized that I should also push my body. She doesn't walk up her house. Her house is on the 11th floor. But that day she decided, chalo, today I'm going to walk up. So reached 11 floors. And if you climb up 11 floors, you are definitely out of breath and you are a little thakela. But she told, this is where I live. I have to go higher, right? And she kept on walking for 16 floors. And then she said, chalo, ek bar kiya hai, dusri bar hota hai kya? And she did it 4 times. She walked up and down 16 floors 4 times. I don't know whether Joe was sending me some message, direct or indirect. And our good friend TJ has just given me one mug. Comrades लिखा हुआ उसके ऊपर. And he looked at me and said, Naren, आप भी भाग सकता है comrade. Saying, ये क्या हो रहा है आसपास में? Bangalore, Betu, TJ. I said, चल मैं भी आज कुछ करता है पागलपन. So I said, चलो, let me also walk up and down the floors of my building where I stay. Fortunately, the top floor is 8 and not 16. So I walked Till now in my life, highest I've ever walked is 48 floors. Yesterday I decided to walk up and down 100 floors. Let me break my target by at least 100%. So 8 times 8 floors. And then 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And therefore it became 101 floors. Trust me, my calf muscles, my hamstrings are saying you are mad. But I am feeling so elated. So elated. And I think this is what it means by going beyond the suffering of the moment. You want to do anything significant, anything tough, anything fantastic, there will be suffering in the moment. Because the mind, the body, the intelligence, the emotions, everything will resist. Human being is designed to live in comfort. But that is not where our greatness lies. In one of the sessions, I am going to speak about 3 circles. Now, those of you who have notebooks, I want you to draw 3 circles, concentric circles. One circle, then another circle, then another circle. You know what's a concentric circle? Good. Concentric circle is very simple. The center remains the same, but the circumference keeps increasing. That's what makes a concentric circle. Make 3 concentric circles. Sweetie, you look a little lost. Okay, good. She's saying, इतना time काय को लगा? मैं तो कब का complete कर ली. Now, in the inner circle, write my comfort zones. Those of you belong to the WhatsApp generation, you may write MCZ. My comfort zones. Now also write over there 5%. You live your life to 5%, full 5% when you live in comfort zone. So those of you who love your comfort zone, congratulations, you are living successfully to 5% of your potential. The second zone is called growth zone. Here, you live up to 60% of your potential. And the outer circle is called the danger zone. Which is, let's say, 100% of your potential. Now, what does 3C circle mean? 5% all of you understand. Why 60%? There are some things which you can do today which can take you to 60%. More than that is dangerous because you and me are not ready for that today. वो करने जाएगा तो collapse हो जाएगा. So today morning, if many of us attempt to run a full marathon, potentially yes, possible. 100% के अंदर है. आज के दिन लेकिन वो 60% के बाहर है. But with enough preparation, what is today in growth zone becomes our comfort zone. Now the smartness in life is to understand that everything outside my comfort zone is not growth. There is two circles over there. One is the growth zone, which you and me should do, where laziness, fear, lack of drive keeps us out. We stay in our comfort zone, where growth zone is something which is possible by us today. That's called the growth zone. आज डिसाइड किया ना कर सकता है, उससे ज्यादा किया तो I will hurt myself. Potentially I can do, in the present I can't do. Are you all with me? So let's say if I want to do dieting and I want to go on a water diet. Now potentially I can do water diet for 8 days. Today I won't be able to do. Today what I can do, I can eat food twice a day. Normally what I am doing, I am eating 5 times a day. So growth zone is food twice a day. But water fasting if I do, that will be in danger zone. But if I do 2 times fasting for the next 30 days, if I do intermittent fasting, 16 hours of fasting and 8 hours of eating for the next 30 days, after that if I want to do 8 days water fasting, that now becomes in my growth zone and it is no more in my danger zone. Are all of you with me? You should flirt with life in your growth zone and be smart enough to stay out from the danger zone. Now there you can decide 5 से 60 के बीच में मेरे को कितना लंबा छलांग मारना है. तेरे को पहले 15% करना है, फिर 25% करना है, फिर 40% करना है. तेरे को 3 साल लगाने का है, उसको लगाना. और मजा तो जब आएगा जब 1 साल के साथ कर लेगा, लेकिन 1 साल में करने के लिए पीक डिसिप्लिन और पीक फोकस चाहिए. 0 डिस्ट्रैक्शन चाहिए, फिर हो सकता है. लेकिन मेरे को डिस्ट्रैक्शन भी मांगता है, मेरे को चीट डेज भी मांगता है ना. चीट डेज, anybody who has gone to fitness or had dreamed about fitness, I don't know whether they know about diet or not, but they definitely know about cheat day. The favorite day of the week is cheat day. And some of them have 7 days a week cheat days. To different people in a week, they say, "Aaj mera cheat day." At home, they'll say, "Aaj cheat day hai." At office, they'll say, "Aaj cheat day hai." They go out with friends and they'll say, "Aaj cheat day hai." That is on different days, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. As I say, cheat day, I can only think about Swapnil. So it's so brilliant, rising above the suffering of the moment. You know, just these words, rising above the suffering of the moment. 7 words, but it can completely change your life. Which means my present suffering is not all of my life. I can rise above the suffering of the moment. So if Shubham could have had the sense, or if he was regular to life lessons, or he was with a friend who could explain to him, we can rise above the sufferings of the moment. Life could have continued to be exceptionally beautiful. Now this is what Dr. Victor, the prisoner who had lost faith in the future, his future was doomed. With his loss of belief in the future, who also lost his spiritual hold, he let himself decline and became subject to mental and physical decay. And then he writes something which is so magnificent. And I would like you to think along with me by mirroring what he is saying with our own lives. The philosophy should remain the same as we think, the details will change. What do I mean by it? As I read it out to you, I'll explain and you will also learn. He writes, I kept thinking about the endless little problems of our miserable life. Our endless little problems of our miserable life. So, to me, the way somebody constructs a sentence is so phenomenal. He uses the word endless. Because life sometimes looks like this. रोज कोई ना कोई issue है यार. Then he says little. Big problems are not endless. वो तो कब आएगा? एक बार आएगा 5 साल में, 10 साल में, 15 साल में. But it is these little problems. यार, compared to who we are and what we have in life, the issue in our life, if it is handleable, it is a little problem. And he says, because our focus is on endless little problems, we see our life as a miserable life. So how beautifully the sentence is constructed. Extraordinary. Kept thinking about the endless little problems of our miserable life. And he speaks about a few of these, what he calls as little problems. See, in the concentration camp, they are given shoes and socks, and it is cold, wintry, rainy climate. Which means if you go out, the shoes will become wet. If it becomes wet, there is no place to dry because it is cold German winter. And you can't take it out because it is so cold, you will literally get frozen. And if you keep wearing them, you will get ulcers, you will have eczema. And they are not even given laces because laces are of some other work. So they are given boots and the boots are open. And whatever little things that they find on the road, they attempt to create a shoelace and attempt to keep the boots together ताकि अंदर जूता में ना ठंड नहीं लगे. So keep that in mind. Where sometimes food is not given for 2-3 days. And if you have done incredible work, like everybody put 10 bags in the truck, and if you could put 25, then as a gift you are given 1 cigarette. And cigarette was the most prized possession in the camp. Because it's not about the cigarette, but as you smoke the cigarette, you relax. Because when you're smoking, you don't have any work to do. And he said, sometimes we can exchange our cigarette for a bowl of soup. So that's the concentration camp. So he writes, I kept thinking about the endless little problems of our miserable life. And what are the problems? What would be there to eat tonight? Do you have such thoughts towards the evening of your day? आज शाम को खाना क्या खाएंगे? या आज शाम को खाने में क्या मिलेगा? If a piece of sausage came as extra, could I exchange it for a piece of bread? Bread is carbohydrate. Carbohydrate gives you a feeling of I am full. Sausage is protein. खाया तो fulfillment नहीं लगता है. And that's why McDonald's and Pizza Hut and Burger King can create an entire fortune only on the basis of bread. Everything else is details. But people eat that because पेट भरा हुआ लगता है. Unhealthy food make you think पेट बहुत भरा हुआ है. Should I trade my last cigarette for a bowl of soup? Would I get to join my usual working party or would I have to join another? Now think about questions which you think often in the day. गरम खाना मिलेगा क्या? आज पुलाव है लेकिन कड़ी तो खत्म हो गया है, क्या फायदा है? मेरे को रेस्पेक्ट क्यों नहीं मिलता है? Why my wife talks to me like this? Why my father is selfish? Why my children never seem to thank me and they always need more? Forget about these things. Why did my wife take out my dress which is wrong combination? अरे आज ये सब्जी क्यों बनाया यार? ये सब्जी मेरे को पसंद नहीं है ना। जो मेरे को पसंद नहीं है वही क्यों बनाते? अरे ये रिमोट किधर गया? अरे अभी मेरे को देखने का टीवी। यार जहां मैं गाड़ी पार्क करता हूं वहां किसी और ने पार्क कर दिया आज। Big problems, right? Big problems, right? And that's what Dr. Viktor Frankl says. You will define your life based on what are the problems which makes you feel helpless. If your dress in the wrong combination makes you feel helpless and angry, indirectly you're telling yourself what is your potential and what is your capability. If somebody overtakes your vehicle in the wrong way and it makes you lose your control, it is telling you what is your potential and what are you capable of doing. Which are the issues that you can effortlessly let go? Yeah, these issues are not worth using my intelligence. And which are the issues that you actually choose to focus on? Somebody cheats you and can you say it's okay, chhod jaan de. Let me think about what needs to be done. Or would I keep brooding for years? Why did somebody cheat me? They should not have cheated me. You are defined by the problems with which you sleep. And there are millions of people on this planet who had the same problem that you are having, but who dealt with it beautifully and effortlessly. Dr. Viktor Frankl writes, I became disgusted to think of only such trivial things. I forced my thoughts to turn to another subject. I saw myself standing on the platform of a well-lit, warm and pleasant lecture room. In front of me sat an attentive audience on comfortable upholstered seats. I was giving to them a lecture on the psychology of the concentration camp. All that oppressed me till that moment lost their power to hurt me. All that oppressed me till that moment lost their power to hurt me. I rose above the situation, above the sufferings of the moment, and I observed them as if they are already in the past. He who has a why to live for can bear with almost any suffering. That's why I say, now this is Dr. Viktor Frankl, find meaning in love, find meaning in work, and find meaning in suffering. Find meaning in love, find meaning in work and find meaning in your suffering. What are your thoughts? What is the suffering you will go beyond? What is the suffering in life by which you can say they have lost their power to hurt me? If you can decide something right now, whatever Dr. Viktor Frankl went through in the concentration camp has found its meaning. I believe he suffered for us to live a better life. He chose to observe his life in a way where he can write, detach himself from his sufferings, and help you and me. I very strongly recommend each one of you to buy that book and read that book. This is like 4 paragraphs from that book. God knows what gems and jewels you will find in the book when you read it. When you read that book, you will understand the kind of sufferings they went through. You will realize if they can go through the sufferings that they went through, my life is actually a cakewalk and a bed of roses. Your life is easy or difficult has to be understood in context, right? If Vikas has, let's say, a loan of 20 crores and he's still happy, cheerful about his life, thinking about ideas by a lot of money, repay to people to whom he has to repay, and he is able to give quality time to his wife, find time for exercises. And if I have a loan of 1 crore and I think it's unbearable, 1 crore by itself is not unbearable. It's about rising above my suffering. So like Jack Sparrow would say in the Pirates of the Caribbean, the problem is never the problem. The problem is in the way we think about the problem. The problem is never a problem. Because there are enough people in the world who go through that problem effortlessly. So problem is not a problem. The problem is the way I deal with that problem. So let's listen to you. What are your thoughts? And at least pray all of you will go beyond the problem of बारिश आ गई, कपड़े नहीं सूख रहे यार, बहुत प्रॉब्लम है. Yes.
If I can understand the heart of my suffering and give meaning to it in the right way, I can understand the heart of my life. Just to correlate with the 3 zones here, if I am in comfort zone and I am not able to understand the meaning of what the suffering is, how can I understand my suffering if I am in the growth? That's how I progress, and I understand that there is a danger zone, but it also has a possibility of it, the potential of it becoming a part of the growth zone. How I combine and make suffering an anchor.
Absolutely. And it's called the danger zone, not the dead zone. डेथ जोन मीन्स वहां जाओ मत. डेंजर जोन मतलब पंगा है, हो सकता है कुछ नहीं होगा, हो सकता है तकलीफ होगी. That's what danger is all about, na? Danger doesn't mean something wrong will happen. There's a possibility of something wrong happening. But growth zone में तो definitely discomfort, so that little mental agony. But if I'm giving a meaning to that, you're so right. I will always be in my growth zone. In fact, all of us should be able to say this. We don't live in our comfort zone. We live in our growth zone. What's your address? Growth zone. पांडुरंग नेक्स्ट प्रोजेक्ट का नाम ही रखेंगे अपन ग्रोथ जोन. Yes, darlings, any thoughts on what we discussed thanks to Dr. Viktor Frankl?
So last 3-4 years I'm going to that zone of non-suffering. But what realizes that the people with whom I am interacting, so they are now getting suffered how this person is like this, because I have to deal with those people in a day-to-day work or whatever things. So you cannot say jealous, but sometimes you need to show them you should also do like this. You should also not look into these small problems, but they want to. And the issue comes there.
Have they done the match?
Some of them.
Some of them. Yes, darling. Anil?
I think the problem is that when I give too much weight to that problem, I tend to get buried below.
Absolutely.
Okay? Absolutely. If this problem will be solved, so then it's just a matter of time. It can be resolved.
Absolutely.
There are some problems that take times, a little longer time, which is not solvable. You have to accept it and move.
Absolutely. Anybody else mirroring it with your life? What we discussed for close to 1 hour, does it make any sense to you? About 45 minutes. So if you have to take a decision based on what we've discussed in 45 minutes, what is that one decision you can take? Absolutely. And always remember, it is only leaders who can be visionaries. Most people cannot be visionaries. To be a visionary means you are able to see what others are not able to see. So step number 1 is to be a visionary. Step number 2 is to share that vision with people whose support you need. So vision begins with you, but it should become a shared vision very soon. The sooner it becomes a shared vision, the faster is your journey. Like keep moving movement is a shared vision. So let's say I had the vision, ये ऐसा हो सकता है. Very soon it must become a shared vision. So speak with all of you. चलो ऐसा करते हैं, चलो ऐसा कर सकते हैं. And the moment enough of us say, हाँ ये करेंगे, now it begets great momentum. Sports convention, a vision. चलो share करते हैं. 1 coordinator, 4 captains. Now they are convinced, हाँ ये हो सकता है. Then everything gets momentum. So the issue, like Harshad is saying, sometimes is I have a vision, but I don't know how to speak about that vision to others. Then I will always be alone. कि यार दूसरों को समझता नहीं है. बट दूसरों के बिना विजन रियलिटी बन नहीं सकता, अकेला नहीं कर सकते. So even if you have run the comrades, he needs the running coach, he needs that group. वो अकेला सिर्फ करेगा तो बहुत रेयर पॉसिबिलिटी है. So Shivaji has a vision and he needs a Tanaji. Mahatma Gandhi has a vision and lakhs of people join him. And that are the two essential parts of leadership. One is to have a vision, and then is to have a team which believes in your vision. Like Somu wants to expand his work, he has a vision that he can. But if he cannot convince his team that this is possible, वो बेचारा अकेला रह जाएगा. हाँ जी, anybody else? If you have to take a decision right now, what decision would you take? To learn something useful every day? Okay, beautiful.
In tough times, I'll always think of a great future so that I'm not affected by something that's coming.
Absolutely. And decide the 3 things that you can do to move in the direction of your great future. Otherwise, it becomes a dream. Vision is when you back it with action. Action is बहुत दूर है, लेकिन 3 चीज कर सकते हैं क्या छोटा छोटा? So that I move in the direction.
The stronger point which you had mentioned about the biggest of losses and disappointments makes me stronger. Then when I sit and realize at the age of 48 that I'm going to turn 50, everybody knows it.
After centuries, I think a lady in public forum spoke about her age. Yes, darling.
So today I feel that whatever I have learned and however stronger I have become every day or every year as the days are passing, it's only making me stronger. So there are times when I regret and think and talk about it. I need to stop.
Huh?
Yeah.
That's a very smart thing. Because then your suffering ends. So this man was convicted of a crime he did not commit. Somebody else murdered, and he was sent to the jail accused of being the murderer. After about 8 years, he was released because of good behavior. But imagine 8 years of his life has gone inside prison. When he comes out, he's a very happy man. आया सबसे मस्त बात किया, चलो चलो let's continue with life. And his 2 friends, very close friends, who knew my friend is innocent, were burning with rage every day. The moment he came out, he said, चलो कुछ करेंगे अपने को, अभी अपने को बदला लेने का है. And this man says, first of all, I have lost already 8 years of my life. If I cannot move on, then I'm still not free, I'm still in the prison. If I cannot move on, then I'm still a prisoner. There, the only difference is prison had those walls. Over here, I'm inside the wall prison over here. मेरे को मारने का है, बदला लेने का है. That incident was over 8 years ago. But I'm still a prisoner. Freedom किधर है? So let's say a tragedy happened a few years ago. And I continue to think about that tragedy. My miseries continue and I'm still a prisoner. And the faster you can say, chhod yaar, I want to focus on that dream of mine, the more you will be able to rise above miseries. And that's what is the objective of today's life lesson. No misery of our life should have power over us. We should be able to rise above the miseries of our life, whatever it may be. And I wish we pass this strength to every human being we know, so that nobody around us should take the ultimate tragic step. Nobody around us should languish in their misery for a long time. Nobody should keep saying, लेकिन तुमको नहीं मालूम मेरे ऊपर क्या बीती थी. They should be able to rise above. I understand the pain, but I also know you can rise above that pain. And we'll talk about that in a little while. I need you to take a few minutes and take a decision right now. So those of you who have your notebooks, it will be a good idea to write down your decision in the notebook. So think about it this way. When a spiritually evolved person says, ask for suffering, his perspective may be very different compared to the perspective that we understand. For example, Dada slipped, broke his hip bone, very painful, went through surgeries. And yet when he was interviewed in the hospital, okay, Dada, is it paining a lot? He smiled and said, I am grateful. Because of this pain, I am able to think about the Lord. हे भगवान बहुत दुख रहा है, तो दुख रहा है इसी बहाने हे भगवान याद किया ना, नहीं तो पूछते थे कल स्कोर क्या हुआ, सेंचुरी किसने बनाया, नेक्स्ट मैच किसके साथ है. जब तकलीफ हो रही है तभी तो बोला ना हे भगवान. So for a person like him, he says, give me suffering, not because I want suffering, but give me suffering for a couple of reasons. Reason number one, when I suffer, I think about you, and I love to think about you. And reason number two, when I suffer, my ego goes down. I become humble in suffering. Dr. Viktor Frankl is very humble in the camp. He cannot be egoistic over there, because his degrees will be taken over, dumped and said, now you have nothing, go. So for them, suffering has a little spiritual meaning, a little meaning of purification. It is not suffering for the sake of suffering. With maturity, we can deal with suffering in this way. So our friend, without that maturity, said, no, give me suffering. Now, if the perspective was, that which does not kill me makes me stronger, in that suffering, they are able to see how it will help them in life. Remember, find meaning in your suffering. The spy is saying, तू मेरे को और 4 दिन टॉर्चर कर ले, ताकि 4 दिन में उनको भागने का मौका मिलेगा. So there is a purpose in that suffering. मैं जितना ज्यादा टॉर्चर ले सका, उतना उनको सहूलियत होगी. So suffering has a purpose. So whenever I see suffering from this angle, I'll say, यार इससे तो मेरा फायदा हो रहा है. outside my comfort zone into the growth zone, there is suffering. So let's say I sleep at 1 and I have to wake up at 5 because I have to go for my run. Only 4 hours of sleep, and then if I have to go, there is a mental suffering. Yaar, neend puri nahi hui. But when I conquer this suffering and I go beyond, it helps me to grow. So link your suffering to some contribution or some growth, not suffering for the sake of suffering. And it will be pretty resolved. Okay. I'm going to say a few things about emotions. I'd sent out yesterday a message on emotions. I'll speak about it, let's say, about 5, 7, 8 minutes. Then I will ask you to do an exercise. Emotion is data. Emotion is energy. Emotions are your friend, they are not your enemy. Your emotions are not your weakness, but your emotions are tools to make you alert. You are angry, you are alert. You're scared, you're alert. You are celebrative, happy, joyous, you are alert. And the emotions lies data. What do I mean by this? Listen carefully. Fear. Fear has one question. All emotions ask you questions. See emotions as your question partner. Where your emotions are seeing you as a wise person or an otherwise person. And your emotions, the work of your emotions is to ask you questions. Emotion is not your weakness. Emotions are not wrong. The more intense you live your life, the more you want to do with yourself, the more you want to grow, the more you want to contribute, the more you want to earn, the more you want to celebrate, the more you want to have. You're bound to have emotions. Why? Because emotions drive us. Intellect does not drive us. Intellect by itself is actually stupid. India should be a country without corruption. It's an intellectual fact. And I can write a 3,000-page book on that which can become a bestseller. But if it is filled with emotions, it will make me act on it. Chalo kuch karte hain. Education system in this country is not great. It's a fact. It's an intellectual realization. Every Tom, Dick, Harry, every child, every teacher, every parent, everybody in this country knows this. But some have emotions attached to it. And therefore they make it their responsibility and drive on it. And there are hundreds of organizations in our country who have taken up in their own ways initiatives to make the education system much better. So emotions are our driving force. Whether it is fear, whether it is hurt, whether it is anger, they drive us. And they drive us by asking us questions. If I want to sidestep those questions, if I don't want to be honest with those questions, then I start suffering because of my emotions. What do I mean by it? Let me give you a few examples. Are all of you with me? Yes. Let me give you some examples. Very profound, very deep. What is the question my fear asks me? Fear only asks me one question. Are you sure? Are you sure? That's the question fear asks me. Let's say I don't know how to swim, and I am saying नहीं मेरे को स्विमिंग सीखने का है, लेकिन पानी से बहुत डर लग रहा है, डूब गया तो, and I say चल ठीक है नहीं करने का है, कल करेंगे, बाद में करेंगे. Fear only asks this question. Are you sure? मेरे को स्विमिंग सीखने का लेकिन डर लग रहा है. Fear asks me this question. Are you sure? Are you sure you don't want to do it? Are you sure it's really dangerous? Are you sure it's not in your interest to develop? Are you sure you shouldn't conquer this? Fear asks you questions. Are you sure? And I can say I don't want to answer this question, then I escape. Psychology speaks to me about fight, flight, freeze. Flight, bhago. Or freeze. Oh my God, my brain is not working. But Mikhail Tchaikovsky, a brilliant sports psychologist, introduced a fourth term called flow. Fight, flight, freeze, or flow. Flow is beautiful, graceful, gentle. Flow has movement. Flow has a destination. पानी जाके कहीं तो मिलेगा. Flow, understand, it's not going to be smooth per se. It's not a straight line. थोड़ा आगे पीछे घूमते घामते boulders will be there, rocks will be there, pebbles will be there, trees will be there. But I'll continue. So life can be a series of fight, anger, flight, छोड़ दे भाग जा, freeze, I don't know, so delay, procrastinate, or it can be flow. चलो आगे बढ़ते हैं. And all your emotions are guiding you towards flow. They are not saying fight or flight or freeze. When we want to ignore the question which our emotions ask us, we move into fight, flight, or freeze. Anger asks us one question. What is going to be your action? That's what anger asks us. How will you act now? करोगे क्या? Anger is one question. करोगे क्या? नहीं मैं कुछ नहीं करूंगा. मिजरी. करोगे क्या? गुस्सा आ रहा है ना? Anger is saying, करोगे क्या? This question is what gives you anger. Why is somebody asking me this? Do I have to act? And if I don't analyze कि अभी क्या करना चाहिए, then there are two options. Me ignoring the questions has only two options. Either vent out or I withdraw. Either vent out or I internalize. So let's say I'm very angry. Venting out means chilla chilli karo. I'm not answering the question कि अभी actually क्या करना चाहिए. Let's say an employee doesn't work the way he's supposed to work, and I say it's making me angry. अभी क्या करना चाहिए? Maybe I need to understand his point of view. Flow. Maybe I need to be a little patient with him. Flow. Maybe he needs more training. Flow. Maybe he's the right person in the wrong job. So it's better to shake hands, wish each other better, clean this place so that somebody else who's the right person for the right job can come in. Flow. Or I can choose anger and scream and shout and rant. ऐसा मत करो, जैसे बोला वैसे होता क्यों नहीं है? Went out today or tomorrow, that employee leaves me and goes away. I don't like somebody's behavior. Let's say the phone fell down and I can become angry. I can say this is about 3 months since we are having live. By now it should be sorted out. We should have it 0 defect. And I can be angry. Or decide to move into flow. So the choice in your life is fight, flight, freeze or flow. In flow there is momentum, there is growth, there is progress, there is vision, there is destination. And that's what the questions are supposed to guide us towards. Or I can say, nahi, I will fight. Matlab, gussa is my favorite way to handle any situation which is not in my comfort zone. I prefer anger and venting. Are you that person? बहुत गुस्सा आता है, फिर चिल्ला चिल्ली होती है, फिर दूसरे के ऊपर डांटते हो. But if you live with those people, then you might say, तेरे को तो मालूम है ना, ये मेरा नेचर है. मेरा गुस्सा तो क्या है, 2 मिनट का है ना. तू करता ही क्यों ऐसा जिससे मेरे को गुस्सा है? I just vented it out. I didn't grow. I was not in the flow. I didn't ask myself this question. Because I'm feeling angry, actually what should I do? Because I am frustrated, actually what should I do? Chances are I should take a standpoint. But I don't take a standpoint and I want you to change always. That means freeze. कुछ मत करो. And keep hoping and praying that one day things will become okay by itself. Nothing becomes okay by itself. So I freeze. Freeze. And then one day it becomes anger. कितनी साल सहने का? Any one of you, have you gone through those thoughts? कितने साल सुन के लेने का? Any one of you? कितना भी करो कम है. Any one of you? कोई फायदा नहीं है, किसी को याद नहीं रहता अच्छाई. Any one of you? मर भी जाओगे ना, इनको कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ने वाला. Any one of you? जब मैं मर गया तब तेरा वैल्यू समझेगा मेरे को. Any one of you? कितने साल सहने का? क्यों इतने साल सहा? जिस दिन हुआ दूसरी बार, तीसरी बार स्टैंड पॉइंट क्यों नहीं लिया? अपने आप ठीक हो जाएगा. कुछ नहीं होता अपने आप. From today, treat your emotions like your friend. Don't see your emotions as your enemy, and don't see your emotions as your weakness. Emotions are there to guide you. So if you get angry or if you get scared, they're natural phenomena. Nothing is wrong with it. But the way ahead is not fight, flight, or freeze. It is flow. और flow के लिए you will have to answer the question. I don't like how somebody treats me, so I get angry. What should I do so that in times to come I am treated properly? If that is not the option, what should I do so that I am peaceful? So that's why I said emotions are data. Emotions are a mirror. Emotions are my guide. And if I am not emotional, I won't have drive. See some of the people who are एकदम सुन्न, वो कौन सा इंजेक्शन देते हैं? Anesthesia. Some of them either have local anesthesia. सुनोगे इधर, वो फ्रीज मोड में चला गया. और जब भी एनेस्थीसिया जाता है, बहुत तकलीफ होती है. If anyone of you has gone through a surgery, anesthesia से सर्जरी तो हो गया, उसके बाद our destination is flow. Now visualize every emotion is asking you a question to guide you towards flow. Then you give your sufferings a meaning. So don't bottle up your emotions. And don't just vent your emotions. Which means don't internalize it and don't destroy relationships.
Then what?
Think what is the question your emotion is asking you so that you can move to flow. So what did Dr. Viktor Frankl do? He didn't internalize his sufferings. कि मेरी किस्मत ही खराब है. Why was I born as a Jew? Why Hitler is doing this? उसके मुंह में कीड़े पड़े. He is not internalizing it. Neither is he venting it and attempting to kill all the guards over there. He visualizes the beautiful future. Remember? How did he rise above suffering? Look at it. I saw myself standing on the platform of a well-lit, warm and pleasant lecture room. In front of me sat an attentive audience on comfortable upholstered seats. I was giving a lecture on the psychology of the concentration camp. All that oppressed me till that moment lost their power to hurt me. I rose above the situation, above the sufferings of the moment, and I observed them as if they are already a part of the past. With that, he moved into flow. It was not fight. It was not flight कि चलो भागने का कोशिश करें. Neither was it freeze. हम क्या कर सकते हैं, जो किस्मत में लिखा है वही तो होगा. It was flow. So it begins with, what is the vision you have about yourself? 1 year down the line, what kind of a person does Bharti want to be? Would people talk about Bharti and say, under tremendous pressure, still she's cool? Even when things are going wrong all around, there seems to be some inner strength inside her, which makes her so peaceful. Even when many people misbehave, that smile doesn't seem to leave her face. Would you like to visualize yourself as that kind of a person? So Viktor Franklin visualized himself, a hall filled with 5,000 people, and I'm talking to them about what was the psychology of the concentration camp. Now you don't have this vision for yourself, then the present suffering seems to define your life, and then it will be fight, flight or freeze depending on your nature. If complaining is your nature, then that's what you'll do. Internalize or venting, internalize or venting, internalize or venting. That's what most people do. So let's say there will be some of you who don't like aggressive behavior. You don't fight. What you do is you withdraw. You create a wall. You move into a shell. And you internalize. Well, then अंदर घुटते हैं अपन. That is not good for you because it's going to hurt you. It is going to hurt you. Let's say Ashish is a partner, and let's say Ashish's partner does not treat him well. Ashish wants to say a lot of things, but he says, छोड़ जान दे, कौन झगड़ा करेगा, कौन माता फोड़ी करेगा, चल रहा है ना, चलने दो. एक दिन उसको समझेगा. And he keeps internalizing. Now that evening at home, he is not a happy father. He sits to meditate, he can't meditate. He is with his friends, he can't laugh. अंदर ही उसको घुट रहा है ना. And he creates a wall. मुझे मेरे हाल पे छोड़ दो. Have you seen those dialogues? मैं और मेरी तन्हाई. Hurt. This is internalizing. And the other is venting. Hey! उससे भी नुकसान है, इससे भी नुकसान है. मतलब कचरा दूसरे के ऊपर फेंको या कचरा खुद के पास रखो, दोनों ही तो नुकसान वाला है ना. बट कुछ लोग हैं जो वो कचरे का कंपोस्ट बना लेते हैं, उसका फर्टिलाइजर बन जाता है. लेकिन उसके लिए विजन चाहिए कि चलो कचरा है ना, इसमें भी कुछ वैल्यू है, चलो उसको कन्वर्ट करते हैं. So either I internalize, I vent, or I move into flow. The beginning is, see your emotions as your friend. Do not see what the world has labeled so far as negative emotions as negative. See those emotions as your guiding posts. All emotions are fundamentally asking you a question. Fear asks you what question? Are you sure? नहीं मेरे को स्विमिंग नहीं करना है. Are you sure? And it's appealing to your intellect. थोड़ा अच्छे से एनालाइज करके बता मेरे को. Are you sure स्विमिंग नहीं करना चाहिए? क्या भाग जाएगा? Public speaking for many people. Sharing for that matter. नहीं, what I say may not come out right. Are you sure? And anger asks you one question. क्या करोगे? What action will you take? Or what action should you take? If there is a vision, then that action is driven by that vision and it's always towards the flow. No vision, फिर तुम माथा फोड़ी करो. I wish you listen to this life lesson again. I really wish you sit as friends, you sit as family, you sit as partners and see this life lesson again. And now and then, wherever you feel like, pause, discuss, pause, discuss, pause, discuss. I wish you see this life lesson many times and not just once again, till it gets internalized. जैसे कोई गाना अच्छा लगता है बहुत बार सुनते हैं ना, वैसे ही I believe that this life lesson can have a profound impact in your life. Not many people in the world can explain or understand emotions the way we have just done today. It's a very different perspective to emotions. I'm saying anger and fear is natural, and it's not your weakness. Just be alert and answer the question properly, and you'll move to flow. All revolutionaries in this world have been angry people. All brilliant business people have been very angry people. But their anger was not about venting or internalizing. Then anger is not your weakness. We are stupid people. You found all of them could take that anger and give it a direction, merging it with their vision for the future and moving into flow. Tell me about any great person who was not angry. Leave aside spiritual masters like Buddha and Mahavira, and you will find some were angry, some were disappointed, some were hurt, but they answered the right questions and moved ahead in life. Let's summarize what today's life lesson meant for you or spoke to you, and with that we'll complete today's life lesson. And I would love all of you to say at least one sentence, any one sentence, anything that you loved in today's life lesson.
My vision should be so powerful that let the emotion flow through it and ask a lot of questions. And then I can see a beautiful life ahead.
Yes. Yes.
I make my emotions my tools to help me grow.
Absolutely. So last night I sent that message. Read that message also multiple times, and suddenly that same message will have a much better depth. Okay?
Rather than always thinking about something and crying about it, I should try to find meaning out of it. Because crying, it will just help me to draw more, but finding meaning, it will help me to grow in my own way. And to see a bright future.
Absolutely. If any one of you wants me to share these few paragraphs of Dr. Viktor Frankl's thing, just let me know. Send me a message and I'll immediately copy paste it to you. Okay? You take a little effort, I'll take a little effort. Mods?
I will take emotions as a guiding force and as a friend.
Hey, isn't Mods looking very handsome today? Yes, darling. Kunj?
Disappointment and failures make me stronger.
Can make me stronger. So will make me stronger नहीं है, because will मतलब वो H2 plus O2 is H2O, law हो जाता है. Can मतलब दोनों possibility है, अपने ऊपर है. It's my choice. Huh?
As I shared before, because of losses and disappointment makes me stronger. It makes me aware of the emotions which I have at that particular scenario or situation. Either I become angry or I go into that fear mode, getting scared. But instead of flight, freeze and fight, usually it's my fight or freeze. फ्लाइट वाला तो है ही नहीं, but I think I should move into flow now.
Yeah.
Move into flow. जितना जल्दी एक्सेप्ट करके उसके साथ चलूंगी, सीखने में काफी आएगा. I will learn a lot about myself and become a better team member.
Yeah. Irrespective of the age. नहीं मतलब रिमाइंड करा रहा हूँ यार. गौरी?
Emotions are not the weakness, but if I ask the right question and go into flow.
Absolutely.
And second thing which was like giving meaning to the suffering.
Absolutely. Both very beautiful, na? Very, very beautiful. Yes, Vikas?
I'm going to practice humility in all the situations when I was listening to you. I realize when tough times comes when I go through suffering, I lose all my humility. So I have to hold on to that humility, and with the vision, then I can practice humility.
Absolutely. And if you ever feel angry or miserable, ask yourself, what action will you take? No freeze mode.
I have to ask this question, am I driven? I need to understand that emotions are my friend. That's what it is.
Absolutely. That is connecting David Goggins, na? I am very ordinary person, no special talent, but I am driven. Sidhu?
My emotions are my anchors in my life. So my anchor should be a peaceful in my life. So whatever I do, I will focus on to be peaceful.
Absolutely. So in today's context, we say whatever happens, I will be in the flow. Not fight, flight, flees, but flow. है ना? तो इंटरनलाइज भी नहीं करने का है, वेंट भी नहीं करने का है, फ्लो में जाने का है. अजीत?
Whenever you are going through tough times, then always believe that we have a great future. It will help you to vision out and even help you to go through that.
Absolutely. Sumit?
There is one statement that is very impactful for me: rising out of the suffering of the moment.
है ना? My favorite too. Rise above the sufferings of the moment. It's almost like a very sweet challenge. बहुत तकलीफ है, लेकिन इसको अच्छे से हैंडल किया तो क्या मजा आएगा. It suddenly becomes a game rather than a weight that I have to carry on my shoulders.
When we go in flow, so it will be very easy to forgive myself and others.
Absolutely right. Because the focus is the vision. The focus is not people. And because the focus is not people, so Viktor Frankl is nothing against the guards. नहीं तो जिंदगी भर गार्ड्स को गाली मारते रहो. It's not the guards. The focus is the vision. मेरे को उधर पहुंचने का है. You're absolutely right. Then I'll be able to forgive myself. I'll also be able to forgive others. Very beautiful.
Rising of the suffering of the moment. उसको एक बहुत अच्छा स्टेटमेंट है. ये समय नहीं रहेगा. समय चेंज होता है.
Absolutely. Link suffering with growth. No, well, that's very beautifully said. Beautifully well done. I'll just link my sufferings to possible growth. हो गया काम. Yes, Kanchan?
Share my vision and get it.
हाँ. Absolutely.
Facing and handling and rising above my sufferings. That will only make me progressive.
Absolutely.
And experience and make me more and more strong.
है ना? I'm so glad at least one of you shared about that. नहीं तो सोच रहा था मेरा डायग्राम थोड़ा विक्टर फ्रैंकल और इमोशंस के बीच में. It will be a very beautiful thing if you take a very, nice color printout and put it right in front of wherever you sit. 5% is my comfort zone, 60% is my growth zone, and बाकी का 100% is my danger zone. So, and probably you can map also. My fitness, right now I am in zone number 3%. 15 तक जाने का है. करियर में मेरे को अभी तो कम से कम 45 तक जाने का है. So you can create something very beautiful out of it. I really enjoyed taking today's life lesson. Next KMM session is not in Bal Gandharv. It is in Anna Bhav Sathe Auditorium. So some of you can smile because we are closer home. So next Sunday we don't have life lessons over here. I will see you in Anna Bhav Sathe Auditorium. And in case you want the quotes and writing which I have from Viktor Frankl, send me a message and I'll share it with you. Thank you so much and love you all.